two, 1, 2, 3.
Two weeks ago, you heard much of the program from the recent Labor Day picnic put on by the Tompkins County Workers Center and the Midstate COSH.
And now Dakota will read who Chico Mendes was, because we now have a Chico Mendes Award.
From 1944 to 1988, Brazilian activist Chico Mendes' life would be intertwined with the ongoing fights for human rights, workers' rights, and conservation. Working as a rubber taper since the age of 9, barred from education by his employer, Chico was unfettered by the obstacles and the difficult task ahead. Mendes, after witnessing as much injustice as he had experienced, would spend his years working towards the betterment of the world around him. In a statement, he described how his mission had changed over time, remarking how at first he thought he was fighting to save the rubber trees, then he thought he was fighting for the Amazon rainforest. He realized he was fighting for humanity. Likely, this was in reference to how his union organization had focused on ending deforestation and how the pursuit of this indirectly helped human rights issues. Truth can still be found in this underlying theme, as it still sometimes happens that to better one's community, steps in a seemingly unrelated direction must be taken. Chico Mendes stands for the idea that standing for workers' rights and care for the larger community and world around you go hand in hand. And so we honor today those who organize to the greater respect for workers while continuing to serve our community with great dedication.
As a Brazilian American, I'm extremely proud to have an award named after a Brazilian organizer. I think in Latin America we're often forgotten about in the labor movement, but we're quite active in the labor movement. And in Brazil in particular, some of the greatest conversations around oppression, like Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Freire, is the beginning of the conversation of overcoming oppression. And so I'm very proud to be able to present the first time we ever giving out this award. This is a union that I have watched their struggle. They've already spoken, so I don't need to say much else. Without further ado, I'm proud to present the Chico Mendes Award to Bangs Ambulance Workers United.
Thank you very much. Our next award is called the Jazz Brzik Award. I'm going to ask Dakota Brooks to come up and tell you who Jazz is.
Brzik started her career in 2016 working as a teacher advisor for the Sunflower Freedom Project, and in 2017 working part-time in a campaign with United Auto Workers to unionize a Nissan factory in Canton, Mississippi. Nissan was criticized for one of the nastiest union-busting efforts in history. The union push was unsuccessful. She also worked to help defend Jackson Women's Health Organization. She says her work is inspired by Eugene V. Debs and Mary Harris Jones. In 2019, Brzik relocated to Buffalo, New York, following Richard Brezigner, whom she had worked with on Nissan unionizing, to start a union organizing campaign at Spot Coffee. The campaign at Spot was ultimately successful. In 2020, Brzik joined the Elmwood Avenue Starbucks as a barista. 8 months into working there, in July 2021, she launched a then-secret campaign with Brezner and Workers United to unionize Starbucks tea. The campaign garnered the support of the Democratic Socialist of America, Senator Bernie Sanders, House Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and a member of Seattle, Washington City Council, where Starbucks is headquartered. Kashima Swan. As of March 2023, over 250 Starbucks cafes had unionized. Brzik left Starbucks in September 2022 when she was forced out. She next took work at a Buffalo Tesla factory where, as March 2023, she was also reported to be organizing workers. Jazz is proof positive that our younger generations of workers are passionate about fighting for workers' rights and unionization.
And standing next to me is Jazz Brzik. I first got to meet Jazz, I think, about 3 years ago when Richard Benzinger brought her here to work with the Gimme Coffee campaign I believe it was, and they really impressed me as a person on a move. And this first Jazz Brzik Award goes to Starbucks Workers United Ithaca. So if everybody can give a warm round of applause, and everybody from Starbucks Workers Ithaca, please come to the stage.
So when we started the campaign in Buffalo, it was following in the wake of what was already an amazing coffee shop organizing project in upstate New York. And that started in 2017 when Pete called Richard about a group of baristas at Gimme Coffee that wanted to organize. And they proved that you could have a baristas union when they organized the first baristas union in the country. After that, there was Spot Coffee in Buffalo, and then the beginnings of the Starbucks campaign, and then it began to take off. And I remember getting the DMs on social media from Evan and hearing that, all 3 Starbucks stores in Ithaca were going to organize at once, becoming the first 100% union Starbucks city in the country. Now, Starbucks holds the record for the most NLRB charges and complaints against any company. And so they're the worst union buster in modern U.S. history. And the worst union busting of this worst union buster was right here in Ithaca. And these workers have heroically fought back with the support of the Cornell students in the community against that union busting and are incredible folks.
Thank you, everybody. So my name is Evan, and why don't we just introduce everybody else? Just come to the mic. I'm Evan. I'm from the Ithaca Starbucks team.
I'm Nick from a Starbucks in Chicago and Cornell here in Ithaca.
I'm Atakan. I'm from a Starbucks in San Francisco and here at Cornell.
My name's Andrew. I'm from a Starbucks in Denver.
Stephanie, I worked at Starbucks here in Ithaca.
Thank you. So, as Jazz said, which they eloquently put, we started our campaign here in Ithaca around October 2021. We kept it very hush-hush, and by January 2022, we were public. 3 stores in Ithaca. The South Meadow Street store, it opened, and 7 days after it opened, we had cards signed, majority at that store. College Avenue, Commons, all 3 stores prepping up for their elections. 2 days after we launched our campaigns, the executives, top executives from the company, the vice president, the regional director, they were in Ithaca trying to union bust. They got managers trying to get people to quit so that we would have a difficult time with our election. But no, actually, we had landslide victories at all 3 stores in April 2022. But unfortunately, that victory was short-lived because in June 2022, Starbucks decided that they would shut down the College Avenue location that I worked at. And it was really difficult. We bargained. We did an effects bargaining session for the whole summer, and a lot of workers got moved to the Commons and South Meadow Street store, where we were for another year until Starbucks announced that they would close the stores again in May 2023. So there would be no Starbucks in Ithaca. But we put up a really big fight, and with the help of the Cornell students, we were able to give Starbucks the taste of its own medicine. So I would like to thank the community for their support, showing up to strikes, showing up to protests, info pickets. We really, really appreciate the support. And as soon as, obviously I probably should talk about this, the National Labor Relations Board, an administrative law judge ruled that Starbucks did in fact break the law here in Ithaca, 100 times. So, they announced that they, as one of the remedies, they would have to reopen, Starbucks would have to reopen the store in College Town, which maybe we can expect to see within the coming year. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I guess the big thing is thank you to the community. We hope to have your continued support. And thank you to the Cornell students for putting up their Get Starbucks Out of Cornell campaign. And, they'll have more to say about that eventually. So thank you so much, everybody, again. And we hope to see you again at a future event.
I'm going to introduce Leslie Finch, who's going to introduce the next award, which is called the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Hi, I'm Leslie Finch. I'm from the UAW at Cornell. The person we're awarding this to was the first president of the UAW back in 1982 when they organized the union. He, excuse me, he worked with local politics he worked with local politics. He organized the union, and it is going to a person who has been in the labor movement for over 40 years. In that time, he not only led the organizing of the UAW at Cornell, but also got us involved in local politics. Organizing at CU was a real struggle, since management was so resistant to negotiate a contract. Everything we won, eventually we won, but it was tough. He has recently written a book about the organizing at CU. It's called Unionizing the Ivory Tower. I would suggest everybody get a copy that they can. It's a really good story. And the award goes to Al Davidoff.
Hey everybody, first of all, thank you to Leslie Finch. Leslie was a mechanic at Cornell for many years, and if you wanted a steward or a union leader to have your back, nobody was better than Leslie Finch. She's an ass-kicking union leader, and so it means a lot to me to have you give me this, Leslie, so thank you. It's a strange thing. I don't really believe there is such a thing as individual achievement in a labor movement. And so all of us, in all we do, we're either doing that work based on our own colleagues and ancestors in the movement. When I came to Ithaca, there were people like DJ O'Connor, who had organized every factory in town for the Machinists Union, and leaders at Ithaca Teachers and other places that created a community that supported us when we took on Cornell, which, you know, was no small task. And all the work that we do over the years is inherently, perpetually a collective endeavor. And we had a brilliant organizer come in to help us, who helped us build a 50-person organizing committee. And so I appreciate very much getting this, and I know that this is a great community that's getting revitalized in terms of labor activity. It's, I think, maybe the most exciting time in 10 or 20 years in this town for labor, and to me it's just great to be back at least some of the time and to be part of it, and to lend whatever help I can in doing that going forward. I'm continue to be in the fight more than full time, and honestly there's no greater struggle and there's no greater joy or privilege than to spend your life getting to do that. So thank you all.
Our next award is called the Friend of Labor Award, and that award, our next award is the Friend of Labor Award. This year it's going to be introduced by Stephanie Heslop, who's a Tompkins County Workers Center member.
Hi everybody. I am very proud to be a member of the Workers Center, and also very proud that I was a member of Starbucks Workers United here in Ithaca. Best thing I've ever done in my life. We were very fortunate to have really incredible community support from all over. I see a lot of people here who really showed up for us. If you ordered a Union Strong coffee, showed up on our picket line, shared our strike fund, did any of that kind of stuff, thank you so much for being a friend of labor and a friend of the Starbucks Union. Also, shout out to Pete and Ella and everyone at the Workers Center for being incredible. There's some people who really went above and beyond with their support. It is really hard to hold a multi-billion-dollar company accountable, and it's really hard to make Cornell University do anything, but there are some folks here who did both those things. They camped at a day hall, they gave Martha Pollock hell, and they kicked Starbucks off campus. I I feel very honored to give this year's Friend of Labor Award to the student organizers of the Cornell Off-Campus campaign. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to Stephanie. Thank you so much for everyone for being here. What we accomplished at Cornell was absolutely a community effort. It relied upon alumni and community supporters who arrived at that rally, and students alike. So sincerely, thank you to all of you for your support throughout this campaign and throughout the Cornell campaign. We live in a time of absolutely unprecedented corporate greed and elite control over every facet of our lives. And it's no surprise that Starbucks acts as if they're above the law, acts as if they're completely unrestrained and can do these things, leaving as a multinational corporation from a locality entirely. Why should we be surprised with the way everything else is structured? Starbucks may just see Ithaca as another asset, another number in a spreadsheet, but this summer we used that oversight against them. We showed them that the solidarity in this community within Ithaca between students and community members is strong enough to challenge, to meaningfully combat the power of multinational corporations. When Starbucks pulled out of Ithaca, they crossed the line. They violated a boundary, and people responded quickly with the action that was necessary to fight back against them. In Ithaca, we drew a line in the sand and marked it out for all of the other communities in which workers want to organize. And I'm deeply proud of that and thankful to the bravery and courage of the workers here who made it possible for that to happen.
I just want to say one thing, and that's that Nick, Danielle, Evan, as well as Grant, they did a fantastic job organizing this during finals week of all times, which, as we all know, is the most stressful and brutal part of any college student's life. I got called like midnight by Danielle saying, hey, can you like do some graphic design work for us? I mean, they were doing above and beyond work in an already stressful time, and I think they're very humble and very committed to the cause of labor. But I just want to take this opportunity also to thank them, each of them, for all of their hard work in doing this.
Our last award is an interesting one. For those of you who remember, who've been coming to picnics for a long time, it used to be called the Goat of Labor Award. Well, the problem with that nowadays is a lot of people, depending on your generation, sees the goat as the greatest of all time. So we've decided to change that, and I've actually had to make an executive decision. People said, let's do the Friend of the One Percenters Award. The problem is with the awardee is not a friend of the one percenter. This person is deeply a one percenter. So the award that Richard suggested made a lot of sense to me, and I'm sorry for the organizers on making this decision, the Robert Barron Award. I would like to introduce Evan Sunshine to accept the award on behalf of Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks.
Hello, my name is Howard Schultz. I was the CEO of Starbucks. Let me tell you all a story. During the Holocaust, 1 out of 6 people received a blanket, and they were expected to share that blanket with 5 other people. My rabbi said, I should share that blanket with 5 other people. And that's what we do at Starbucks. We share a blanket. You know who doesn't share the blanket? The union. The union does not share the blanket. We share the blanket. The union does not share the blanket. Union does nothing for us. They don't share the blanket like we do. We support the Holocaust. No, that's not what I mean. We support the Jews. I'm Jewish. We support the Jews. I was poor once. I'm a billionaire now, but I was poor once. You know what? I'm gonna stop talking because this is just messing me up. All right. Thank you so much for this award, everybody. Actually, as Evan, I'm gonna say, yeah, Howard Schultz, not a great guy. He says a lot of things and he doesn't know what he means. And so I'm happy to accept this award on behalf of Howard Schultz, and maybe we'll send it to him in the mail or something. So thank you, everybody.
Unfortunately, we don't actually do a plaque for this award. So.
Yeah, that's probably good. We'll send him like a piece of paper, and like we'll put it in the fan mail,
Can you, Evan, before you go, can you give context on where the Howard impersonation came from?
Also, I'm Jewish, so the Howard impersonation came from his accent. So don't worry, I'm not.
No, but the Buffalo.
Oh, sorry, I was talking to Jazz. Okay, this is a genuine quote that Howard Schultz gave during a captive audience meeting in Buffalo, New York. So yes, that he gave so you'll hear people talk in the news and among the campaign about the Holocaust blanket quote. That was the quote. So yeah, Howard Schultz is a very slimy person for that. So that was an exact quote from Howard Schultz. So yes, what a slime bag. All right, thanks everybody.
Now I would like the Cornell students to come back up here along with Richard Benzinger. So a campaign is hatching with the Tompkins County Workers Center and any other individual or organization locally that would like to get involved. And it's an idea that was spearheaded by the Cornell students, who successfully is getting Cornell off of its campus.
So Starbucks has decided that it wants no part of Ithaca, and at Cornell we decided that Cornell wanted no part of Starbucks. We think that should extend to the rest of our community. If Starbucks does not want to support unionized workers here in Ithaca, if they don't want to support members of our community, then they should not make a dime within Ithaca city limits. Across town there are Starbucks kiosks, licensed cafes, products that are sitting on shelves in regional affiliate stores. We're interested in targeting those contracts and reaching out to local companies, asking if they support the union busting that has occurred in this community and the unprecedented escalation across the country by Starbucks. So if you're interested in getting involved with the Starbucks Out of Ithaca campaign, there's a sign-up sheet just down there at the Workers Center table where you can leave your phone and email address to help us put pressure on these organizations and escalate the campaign against Starbucks just as they escalated their anti-union campaign here in Ithaca.
Name the businesses.
We have Starbucks licensed cafes right here in Ithaca in both Target and Barnes & Noble that we would love to see out of town and replaced with a local unionized vendor. As well as Starbucks prepackaged goods on the shelves at grocery stores across town like Wegmans and Tops that are regional chains, claim to stand for what our communities and what our regions stand for. If that's the case, they should be ripping Starbucks products off the shelves and replacing them with local, ethically produced products.
I'm gonna speak English and then I'll translate it anyway. We all know that when we give an award, it's for an effort well done, not completed yet, right? Because that's the way it works. And this award, it wouldn't happen if not for the collaboration of many organizations, many people, including you. So it's with an honor to invite Angie and Pedro and his friend there to receive the Dolores Huerta Award.
Hola, buenas tardes, ¿cómo estamos a todos? Soy Pedro Martínez.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Soy Pedro Martínez. How are you today? I'm Pedro Martínez.
Y trabajo en Dryden and Jerry del Pan.
I work at Jerry Dell in Dryden.
20 años ahí.
20 years there.
Y gracias.
Gracias. Thank you very much. And just to add a couple of words to this, there's always something left in the pencil, right? When we started doing this work, Angie was already working in the fields. She grew up, went to school. Now she's an organizer, and many of us had no idea that the milk and the ice cream that we have over there, come from the cows around in here in Ithaca, right? So we really need to be aware. If we want change, we need to change. Like Mahatma said, the change starts with us. We need to start watching what we're eating and where it comes from. So that's the best support that we can give to start with. Thank you very much.
Getting close to the end of the program, but just a few things I want to mention. One is the Workers Center is working very closely with the National Employment Law Project, as well as Jorge Defendini on the Tompkins City of Ithaca Common Council on creating what's called Just Cause. People get fired for, you know what, I could fire Andrew just because I don't like the way you're holding that can of soda there. You're fired. So like with Just Cause legislation, that would enable workers who are fired and they feel like it was unjust to, that could be fought. Right now, just people can be fired easily unless they form a union or take action in concert with each other. And there's very few cities in the country that have this. New York City has this just for fast food workers, and the National Employment Law Project is working closely with us Because I'll tell you, the Tompkins County Workers Center, when I did a search of our database a couple weeks ago, between 2017 and 2022, we had on average 210 contacts to our workers' rights hotline where people felt they were unfairly terminated. So it's like a thing. A lot of people out there are feeling unfairly and unjustly terminated, and we are looking to put a stop to that. And there will be a growing community campaign around this issue, and make sure you keep your eyes open about that. I just want to make special mention of the new Ithaca Teachers Association leadership, with Catherine Cernera as the new president, Raphael Chamberlain as the vice president, Aurora Roger as the secretary, and Brian Goodman as the treasurer. Congratulations, y'all.
Some public announcement. First of all, we at the Midstate COSH have joined what's called the CNY Latino. It's a newspaper produced in Syracuse, and it brings articles from almost everywhere up north New York State, including from us from the Midstate COSH. Since January, we are distributing this paper in Ithaca, and also we are writing once a month. It's a once a month paper. An article related to safety and health trainings in our organization. The next one is when everybody who comes from another country has a story with them, and so do I. I'm an ex-political prisoner of the military junta in Chile from 1973 to 1976. I came to the United States, and we have done solidarity work to return to a democracy under a constitution that was created by the military and still in effect, and therefore we are living in a democracy under the dictatorship constitution. Okay, so this September 11th, believe it or not, we also, it's going to be 50 years of the coup that happened in Chile that toppled the government of Salvador Allende. And we, the Chileans here in Ithaca, after many years living here, we're going to hold what we call a peña in commemoration of the memory of those who were assassinated and killed and disappeared by the military government for 17 years. And we want to commemorate all the people that didn't make it. Thank you very much.